Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another episode of SMSB Live here on the first Wednesday of February, February 7th, National Signing Day. And it is only fitting that on National Signing Day that we talk about what's happening within the Metro Detroit community. Some of the top student athletes in America, I would say, are going on to play college football. And today is really the day that it's all about. Is where um, everything that you talk about, it all comes to reality. You can live a lie, you can pump yourself up, you can fluff it up, but if you don't sign on today, it's all for naught. It's all for naught. So our conversations up to this point have talked about the foundation, youth football and youth coaches and youth development. Me and Greg have kind of chopped it up on that level. But today we want to talk about, really how young people transition from high school to college. So the basis of youth football and then high school is really the connector to get you from from high school to college. And so within that realm, we got one of the most influential individuals in America, Coach Jermaine Crowell, who has helped young people from the east side, the west side, all over the county to go to college and the NFL. Jermaine Crowell, who's always been active in youth development here in the Metro Detroit area, is our special guest for tonight. And tonight's conversation is going to be a little different because we could talk about this all night. We don't do anything else but football. That's the one thing that me and Jermaine share in common is that this is our full-time job, 7 days a week. So all we do is football. Some people go to other places, but whether it's camps, 7-on-7, contact, training, watching film, coaching clinics, me and Jermaine Crowell, if it's one thing that we got in common, we always doing football. You never find us doing anything else. So but before we do that, I want to turn it over to Greg and let my main man Greg. I want him to tell me, your impressions of Coach Crowell and what you know of him to be, and how you view him as an influence here in the Metro Detroit area.
Oh man, great guy. We when we first met, and Kirk, you gotta realize, man, some of the in the mix, he never told nobody about. He got that blue in him. See, he came from Kettering. He came off from off Van Dyke. It's like the east side. I had to go last week and read the bio, man. But I know he came from Kettering, so we got a little blue in us too. He come from under my dad. You know what I'm saying? Coach Bogart, may he rest in peace. But Crowell, great guy, man. Great guy. Met him, man. I worked with him one day last year at a youth event. See, he didn't know it was that touchy out there. He didn't know it was that serious. He didn't know football in the metro years is real in the metro area was really competitive. He didn't know the parents and the kids really act like that. But he got a taste of it. So great guy, man. I love him, man. We
Tell
never
me
had a
before
miscommunication or nothing.
before you tell anybody anything else, what didn't he know? What didn't Crowell know about youth football that you had to introduce him to, G? Which I mean, you the football commissioner, so tell me before Crowell. I'm gonna get Crowell take on this, but what was Crowell's thoughts were of youth football before that day? Because he always on the sidelines. I'm not gonna
Ooh.
say he's always has a present where he's at games, impacting young people is what we would call that. When he goes to the games, he always prided himself at being out there and watching kids. That's all he ever did. Watch. But what happened when he got on the other side, standing next to you, Coach Greg?
Hey, Kirk, hey man, he went crazy, man. He we had a little incident, man. We had a little incident, man, at the field I took you to. He was assigned to. He had a little intern. And he said, Greg, it's gonna be all right, man. Ain't nothing gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all right. 10 minutes, he went to the car, came back. He just went to charge his phone, and all chaos broke out. He said,
I
"What
mean,
the heck is this?" I say, "Man, this is youth football. This is
dog,
what
I was
happens every
gone.
Saturday. This is what happened every Saturday, man." And he was amazed, like, "Man, you and Kirk them deal with this every week." He say, "Man, crazy." He was talking about both of the sidelines. He was talking about the coaches, the parents, the kids, the concession, the
The
parking. He
cheerleaders,
say, he say the cheerleaders, man, even the cheerleaders going crazy.
dog,
I say, man,
hey man,
I
the
say this is
cheerleading is
every
serious
Saturday.
around
This is every
these
Saturday.
parts.
This every Saturday. He went crazy, man. He ran out of paper, man. He started writing on the I gave him some a piece of paper. He started writing on the napkin. He said, "I gotta take notes." I said, "Yeah, we gotta turn this in, man. You gotta take notes." He say, man, I done ran out of paper, Greg. What I supposed to do now? I say, Crowroy, you gotta do like me, man. You gotta pull your phone out now. It's time to take
I wish,
pictures.
oh man, I
Hit the
wish
set
Cassandra
live.
was on here. Man. I wish Cassandra was on here because he was like, I remember that he was like, man. So for those who don't know, Crowell, and we'll get to the football stuff later. Crowell started off last year as a site monitor. Site monitors are responsible for keeping everything in order at the games. Greg Hicks is the commissioner of Sound Mind Youth Association. So Greg, everybody reports to Greg. Crowell is a site monitor. He's like, oh man, I got this. I'm going to go out here and watch the games and make sure everything goes smooth. Crowell, tell everybody what happened on your first time as a site monitor.
Hey man, I'm still tripping on the fact that when the cheerleaders went to go meet each other, it was friction. Like, and it was like at first I was just, thinking it was all good. But it was serious friction between the cheerleaders. I didn't know that it got that competitive. I didn't know I've never seen, I only go to the games and I watch the football part, but the cheer part in youth sports is very, very serious. And it was something about a ribbon or a bow or something something that I didn't know nothing about, but I definitely went to Greg like, hey, Greg, is this that serious? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. This is that serious. This is that serious. And then that part where I after we got past the part of the two cheer units not agreeing to disagree, man, I went to my car. I thought everything was good. I went to my car for like, I swear it couldn't have been no more than 10 minutes. Everything was good. Man, I came back and Greg was surrounded. And it was like, oh man. I was like, what the hell happened? And it was, I think that was cheerleaders too. I think was that cheer? That was cheer, right? I think the cheer
It
coaches
started
had,
off
had
with cheer.
surrounded
It
Greg.
started, it started off with cheer, then it ended up in the football aspect.
I
It
was
started
like,
off with cheer.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it was an experience, man. I did not know that it was that competitive. I didn't know that my people, you know, took it that serious and would take it to the next level because I don't even know what would happen if Greg hadn't been there. Like it was several things that happened that day that kind of woke me up as to you know the state that youth sports was in, and some of the things, some of the responsibilities that some of the older guys need to have when it comes to trying to give back. Like it's not just enough to give back and maybe have a coaching clinic with some coaches. We got to start talking about how we treat each other and some of the character that we carry when we're in front of youth, because it was more than entertaining. It was more than
What
entertaining.
what what are the things you talk about? Like we're not here to talk in generalities. Like let's talk. Like what is it that you mean that we need to do better within the community? And I think it's important because a lot of times people say like, oh, it's easy. We do this, we do that. But from your perspective, is that easy work? Working out there on the field, and is that something that you was like, man, if that was my full-time job, just going out there working
Oh
the
no.
games, is that something you would look forward to? Because a lot of times people's like, oh yeah, man, y'all run this program, you made all this money, or y'all doing this. Like, how easy is it for you to do your job as a site monitor? And what are some of the things that make it challenging to work with people? And I see our girl Rondalyn is on the call. She said, "What's up to you, Rondalyn from the Wolverines?" She said, "What's up to you, Crowell?"
I'll tell her. I said, "What's up?" Hey, I'm gonna tell you
You
this.
talking to her
Like, if it was just the kids, if we only had the kids, oh man, I would love doing it. But it's not the kids that make it bad. It's the adults. Whether it be the coaches, whether it be the parents. It's like, I think that something comes up over these adults that are either reliving their lives through the kids who are playing, or it's the parents who have unrealistic expectations of what they trying to get out of youth sports, that we just get out of character and we forget that at the end of the day, man, this is it's supposed to be competitive, it's supposed to be fun, but you're a role model. Like if you're a parent, you're a role model. You want to try to teach your kid to operate, in a likeness of yourself, and it be parents that lose control, and there's like, how is a kid supposed to learn how to handle situations if the adult is struggling to be able to handle the situation? How is the kid supposed to learn how to have conflict resolution if a coach can't have conflict resolution, if everything turns into, you know, spewing a bunch of profanity and no, it's not. I don't. To heck with the game. To heck with the competitive part of it. What's more important is what it is we giving back to the kids, and that's the thing that's disturbing. It's like we've gotten so competitive that, oh, you're not gonna cheat my kids, and then when you get to defending your kids, supposedly, you lose all sight of what it is that you're supposed to be defending your kids for. Hey man, have
So
some respect to the game. Like I'm just
so
saying,
how
it's
so
like
how was it? how was the coach watching like a game you coached when it went from Greg? I'm gonna just watch these couple of games until tell the case. You didn't even get to watch no game after that. You had to walk
no,
around and just
no,
watch the
no.
parents and the crowd. I don't even know if you told me and talked much as you like football on that Saturday. You didn't even get to watch the games.
No, I
You,
was
you,
watching. I was watching to make sure the parents didn't act a fool. Make sure that really, matter of fact, my fault. The coaches. It was more so the coaches, like making sure the coaches. I was a site monitor for about 3 or 4 weeks, and one of the weeks, we had that melee that broke out at in the championship, and it hurt. Like it legitimately hurt because I know all of the leg work that Kurt went through to try to make sure that it was a safe environment, that nothing was gonna happen. He overpaid security. We did all of these things, and then you still can't account for, you know, well, I mean, it's the head coaches that got into it after the game. I mean, the game was over with. I was really going back to I remember watching folks walk through the line and we were going to the podium to try to hand out trophies. And somewhere in that short period of time, things got out of control because I don't know if it was because one team lost that wasn't supposed to lose, or what actually incited the riot. But we basically had damn near a riot on a public facility that Sound Mind Sound Body done rented out, and it put a black eye on the entire day of which was a great day, and it is an embarrassment to me as a Detroiter. Like, man, come on. Like we gotta operate better, when we dealing with each other. Like it's a lack of maturity, a lack of character. It's just, and I'm not saying which side started it, which side, but the fact that it happened is an embarrassment, man. And those are the kind of things that we really need to, the older coaches need to come back and really, preach on and try to do something about it. Like those are the things that I think, they reflect on our kids. When we send kids off to college and the colleges send the kids back home, they sending them back home because they don't have home training. They don't know how to act. And then what will happen is a youth coach will be quick to say, well, they should look at the high school he came from. Well, look at the youth program we got him from. I mean, it starts down there. That's the foundation. Like, no, to me, nobody has a bigger influence on a kid than their youth program, their youth coaches, because you get them at an early impressionable age. By the time they get to high school, a lot of the bad habits or good habits that they have, they've already got them. And then it's reinforced with what comes from at home. If the kid is disrespectful and is cussing people out, well, guess what? He didn't just all of a sudden become disrespectful and start cussing people out. He probably been doing it, throughout his upbringing. And it was never checked and it was never addressed and it never was, tended to so that, you could get that up out of him. And a lot of times, other adults end up having to deal with, those kind of problems. And those are the kind of things that I think are some of the most important when it comes to, folks like myself, Terrell Patrick, Dennis Parker, the older generation of coaches. Like, man, as much as it's important to talk to you guys about X's and O's schemes and how to get kids in school, just about how to conduct yourself and how to, approach things in a professional manner, and always remembering that you're an example to the kids. Like you just you know, it's a way to go about, you know, talking trash without, you know, using a bunch of profanity. You can do that, you know, and it's a time and a place for everything. And you should be able to gauge the situation and tell when things are getting, you know, out of hand, and then be respectful enough to like, you know what, man, this is not where I meant to take this. I didn't want this to go this far. You know, we just got to do a better job, you know, just in general, just, you know, hold ourselves to a higher standard and hold ourselves accountable. We have Detroit has the best football in the entire state of Michigan, which makes us, you know, one of the top talent producing places in the country. You know, that anytime you one of the best in the state, that we produce talent, but we got to produce the kind of talent that everybody gonna want to come and get. You know, because it's coachable, because it's respectable, because it's got character behind it. You know, substance. You know, something that's built to last, not something that just, you know, looks good when you get it, and then once you get it, it's like, oh well, what the hell? You know, kids are a little bit more than what they bargained for. That's
So,
it.
Coach, if you had the X and the O's that Saturday, man, I mean, like Kirk said, we could talk about football all day. You know, I was a basketball guy, but I learned football, you know, through you guys. If you had the X and the O's that Saturday, man, what would you do different, like better? What would be your pros and cons for the weekends and the youth football leagues, even around the city, not just, you know, sound mind, sound body, youth football in general in this city, because it's a competitive sport. I done seen great kids play this sport. I mean, from seven for
Man,
flag on up to aging out.
I just took I you know, because of I've been there, I've seen it, and I know a lot of the people who are involved in it. I just honestly don't believe that a lot of, you know, the folks who are leading our youth, you know, are necessarily qualified. Like, what are the qualifications? What qualifications do we set for you to have to be able to be in front of somebody's child? Like, at the end of the day, like, a lot of times we get a lot of dads. I think it's a lot of dads that coach youth sports. Okay, well, are you a good parent to your own child before you become being a mentor to a team of 40? Like I think, you know, we got to be a little bit more stringent when it comes to the people that we put in front of our kids. Like, you know, leaders lead. You know, you either be you either a good leader or a bad leader. So if I'm gonna put you in front of my child, I gotta expect that you would treat my child the way you would treat your child. You would not, you know, do anything in front of my child that you wouldn't want somebody doing in front of yours. I don't want to, you know, come to a football game and, you know, the coach is smelling like weed, or the coach is reeking of liquor. You know, that's disrespectful, man. Like, you somebody trusted you to be in to be the guardian of their kid for 2 or 3 hours. Okay, but if you intoxicated, you inebriated, then, you know, you make the whole organization look bad. Not only yourself, but you make the people that employ you look bad. So I just think that, like, that would be one. And then just, you know, it's an emotional game. You know, everybody want to win, and then when we the same way you the same bravado you have when you win, you got to have that same kind of bravado when you lose, because it's a part of it. You know, teaching kids to win is a good thing, but at the end of the day, they're gonna lose at some point in time. So I don't want to, when I lose, oh man, it's the ref. Oh man, they cheated us. Oh man, it's excuse making. And for the most part, you know, we're a black community. No one cares about our excuse making. Like, don't give kids an opportunity to make excuses. At the end of the day, hey man, whatever we didn't do good enough. You know, because if you really doing what you're supposed to do, a ref can't take a game away from you. They can't. I promise you. If you working as hard as you
Why?
can,
Let's stop. Hold up. Let's stop right there. Why you say
Yeah,
a ref
stop right
can't take
there.
the game? Everybody say that it's the reason why they didn't win the game was because the refs,
It's the
and
refs.
that attitude transitions or transfers over to the kids and to the parents. And so, why do you say that's not accurate though? Why you say a ref can't decide that outcome of the game? Because I know it's 1,000 coaches. And if you out here watching this, listening to this, type your comments in the chat so that we can hear what your perspective is on why Coach Crowell doesn't know what he's talking about in terms of saying that the referee can't take the game away from you. Tell me, talk to the people about what that is.
I'll put it to you like this. At the end of the day, it's probably about 120 snaps in most games. Let's just say it's 120. So if a ref call 4 crucial calls in the game, and you be like, man, if he hadn't have called that, if he hadn't have called that holding, we would have won. Or if he had have called that holding, we would have won. Well, what about all those other plays? There were opportunities for both teams to make plays each and every snap. Okay, a ref is only going see what he can see. Maybe he made the call, maybe he didn't. But at the end of the day, each team has an opportunity to perform on each snap. It don't come down to one snap. A game is judged by the entirety of the game. You only want to take out one particular play and say that that was the difference in the game. No, that wasn't the difference in the game. The game is played for 60 minutes. It's a whole lot of snaps in between, the first snap and the last. You just want to point out the one that you feel like most affects the outcome that you would like. And that's not real life. Like at the end of the day, man, the reason that I say, I don't teach that. There's no program that I've been at where I'm going to allow a coach, a parent, or anybody else to say that we lost because of a referee, because that's not the case. And it's, to me, it's a weak-minded way of going about things. Okay, I don't want to have a win. I don't want to get a win because somebody, you say that the ref gave it to me. It's disrespectful on both parts. The only reason we won is because the ref gave us a game. No, I don't want that game. I want to beat somebody fair and square. So it disrespects the effort that the opposing team put forth, as well as the effort that we put forth. You know, I just never was raised that way. Like whether it been Cass, Kettering, Harper Woods, Belleville, Persian, any of the places that I've ever coached, no, we're not gonna go out like that. At the end of the day, you get what you earn. We went out here, we played for 60 minutes, and at the end of the day, either we were good enough to get the W or we weren't good enough and that team earned the win. I don't just come out there and just give up wins. I don't just come out there and lose. I come out there and I give it my best. If my best is not good enough, then that means I need to go back to the drawing board, and in the off season correct it and do better. Like period. That's how life works. Life, you don't get a chance to get no do overs. You can't blame you losing your job on, hey man, well my car broke down for a week and it was down for a week. So hey man, that was the only reason I lost my job. Well, at the end of the day, man, you lost your job because you wasn't at your job. You didn't do what you needed to do to get to where you needed to be so that you could keep your job. At the end of the day, we didn't make enough plays so that we can, at the end of the game, have more points than the opponent. Period. That's what it is. And it's just us as a people, man. Just really, to be honest with you, we have to do a better job of holding ourselves to a higher standard in what it is that we want to call a win. I don't want to win if it's got to be given to me from a referee. I want to earn it. I want to actually be better than you. I actually want to go out and work in the off season. You work in the off season. When we meet, hey man, I got what I got. You got what you got. And at the end of the game, man, hey, you earned that win. Anytime I go through that handshake line, if I've lost, you earned that. Because you can best believe I never, ever, ever wanted to go through that handshake line with my, saying, hey man, good game. I want to go through there kind of chipper. I go through there thinking about all the different plays that I didn't make when I lose. And that's a part of it, man. It takes away from the competitive edge on both sides, whether it
So
be
so
you winning or losing.
so when you were coaching at Cavs and you played 3200 East Lafayette,
Oh
Cavs
my
versus
God!
King, there was never a time when you blamed the referees for the Cavs not beating King.
Not one time. Not one time. There's nowhere. There's no. First of all,
All right.
on both on both sides. And trust me, Jay, I wish I could have. But nah, that would have took away from what it was, man. That's beef. That's
what
that's real.
about
That's
what
real
about
live
what
beef.
about all right. Now here goes another instance. When you were out at Belleville and as a black head coach, uh, there were some people that did not really feel comfortable with your presence. You telling me that even when you were at Belleville, you didn't blame the referees, even though you knew that the referees and you had a crew that you might not have felt were accepting of you and what was going on. You never blamed the referees to your players and said that's the reason why things didn't go your way.
I knew that came with it. Hey man, we
Wow.
brothers, man. I expect obstacles. Like if you go in expecting, you don't only go in expecting it to be just smooth sailing. I expected
Mm-hmm.
obstacles. We have to overcome obstacles. We're always being set with obstacles. As a brother, as an African American coach, as an African American man, these are things that they come with who we are. So I expect for us to overcome that. I expect for us to outwork that. And if we don't, then we have to go do more work because that's what's gonna come with it. Like, and that's just being real. Like the people that run from that, those folks are excuse makers, weak minded. You'll never excel in this. You won't. You'll never be great because you always find a way to make an excuse. I just dealt with this with a youth coach just this past year. And I'm telling him, I'm like, man, this is well, they played with older kids. Okay, well, they might have played with older kids. At the end of the day, though, they won. I tell our kids we're gonna go back to we're gonna go to work. Oh man, well, you can't expect this and you can't expect that. No, those aren't the rules. I want to always be within the rules, but it's a bunch of folks that's gonna come out there and cheat. When we on top of our game, I promise you this. When I'm with a program and we on top of our game, we don't give a damn what you do. You can go get whoever you want to go get. You can go get them and they gonna get what we gonna give them. And at the end of the day, feel like that that's gonna be enough because we only worried about us and how we operate in our mindset. We have a different kind of mindset, man. When I was at Cass, we had a different kind of mindset. When I was at Belleville, we had a different kind of mindset. We weren't excuse makers. We took our L's the same way we took our wins. We earned them both. But it was a mindset that was throughout the whole entire program. So I just think that we as competitors and as leaders and coaches and mentors that we need to understand it's a bigger picture at stake. I don't want to teach a young man to be able to make excuses. One day he'll be the leader of a household. One day it's gonna come down. He's gonna have a decision to make. Man, it's cold outside. My family need to eat. I don't want to catch this bus, but my family need to eat. Man, get up off your behind and find a way to get it done. You wallowing. I don't want no man. Nah, man. I don't want none of my kids to ever. They have been through adversity. They know how to overcome it. And football is an opportunity to teach it. Like at the end of the day, oh yeah, that ref. Oh, you know what, ref? Guess what? I watched the Cass Belleville game when I was suspended, and I watched the first play. It was a touchdown. Touchdown. They called holding. They called holding, ref. But dang, man, I didn't see no holding, but it was holding. Okay, we ate that. Guess what we did? We went and ran the ball again. Hey, first down. Guess what they did? They called holding again. Guess what we did? We went back. We ran the ball. Consistently ran the ball up the field to get a touchdown. That's overcoming adversity. That's sticking to the plan. That's a part of it. Hey, and at the end of the game, they said it was a controversial call. It was a holding that they didn't call. Okay, what that mean? I saw a bunch of stuff that I didn't think was, that was right. Like I'm just saying, like at the end of the day, like it goes both ways. I didn't see nobody jumping up and down, when they called holding on that first play. But
So
that's the
so
kind of
so so so
inconsistency.
Greg, when do you think all of this changed, man? You've been around youth football and like when do you think it changed in terms of the mindset of what Crowell is talking to? Because I know growing up, that mentality is what we grew up within. When did things start to change from your perspective, Greg, when you were working and you work with young people for almost 30 years now, when did you see things to start to change?
Well, a lot of coaches probably get upset, man. It started changing, man, when the social media and the betting. That changed the whole
Really?
game.
Facebook?
Social media and bet, man. You
Was it?
already, like Coach Crowell say, you already brewing it up from Monday to Friday. You brewed on social media. You getting called all type of names. You getting dogged out, blah blah. Then Saturday you meet face to face, and you ain't even worried about the game. I like Crowell say, man, I done seen coaches on the sideline, man. Kids do something, man. Coach run in the middle of the field. Yeah, we gonna get some more. We gonna get some more. He ain't even congratulate the kid for a touchdown yet. Yeah, in the middle of the field. Yeah, get this, get that. I told you. It's that social media, man. City ballers, man, brought the friction. I understand it's freedom of speech, but that social media bring the friction in the game all day long, man. That's why our social media policy this year will be more stricter and stricter. Cause I'm out there just for what y'all out there for. It's kids to see an exciting game, see the cheerleaders cheer, and to go home. Not to do push-ups and run every Saturday before I get there so I can break up fights and arguments. That ain't what it's about. So the social media and the betting, it 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 it, it overtook it all. That's what happened. That's how the game changed. And the young coaches that don't want to go to coaches clinic, that think they know everything. Coaches. It's very few organizations in our league that they will send their coaches to learn more. These coaches just they know it all. They know everything, and half of them ain't even played the game of football. That's like me coaching basketball. Then I'm gonna come out there and coach football like I know the game. I don't know the football game. I learned it watching it. I learned youth football watching it for these last 30 years. That's how I learned it. So that
Man,
social media, that's what did it.
I think it's social media. I think social media, back when probably around 2010, like I think 2010 to like 2015, it was a great era of football for like Detroit football. I know King was strong, Cass was strong, East English was strong. We had a lot of good teams with a lot of good players, but it was around the time when Facebook was like booming, and we did us old cats, we were just getting involved with social media and not really knowing the pros and cons of it. A lot of the things we did and we sent across the net. And in doing that, sometimes it's like giving a kid a handgun. Like, hey man, kid just as liable to shoot himself as he is, somebody else, because he doesn't really know what it is that he's doing or how to use the tool that's in his hand. And I think we were that way. I think that I look at the offer situation and how it got blown out of proportion, and I talked to Terrell Patrick about this all the time. Like the Cass King War was like it was at the height of it. TP, I consider him to be the closest thing, he's like a rival of mine. And when he got back to King, things got real serious. Like, because he was pretty popular in the area. I was pretty popular in the area, and we were always trying to one up one another. And I remember when we had J. Rue, and I remember pushing real hard for J. Rue to get offered as a freshman. I wanted to be we're gonna be the first to get the freshman offered by a Power Five school. Just so I could just say that we beat King. And I remember college coaches warning me and telling me, they was like, man, this not gonna be good for this not gonna be good for, nah man, this not gonna be good for football. But I was thinking to myself, nah man, you just mad because you can't do it. And I sounded just like the young coaches now. Like, and so I've been there and I understood it, a different way back then because I didn't know what I know now. Now that I look at it, I just be like, I shake my head. Like, I'm like, man, we exploit, we expose these kids to all of this publicity, all of this attention, but we don't do anything to prepare them for it, you know, to prepare them how to handle, all this attention that they gonna get when, they get these offers, whether it be real offers or fake offers. And when I say fake, it's because I can tell my parents a million times. I'm like, look, man, a lot of this stuff that you see out here is not real. And they'll come back and tell me, well, I just watched such and such and such and such get Clemson. Now, you talking about a 5'8" kid that, probably run 4'8", and how he's posting he got Clemson, I do not know. but I happen to know a lot of the Clemson coaches, and I kind of know that they get to recruit the entire country. So you're trying to tell me that they recruited from West Coast to East Coast, and this 5'8", 4.8 running kid is a kid that they're gonna say deserves a scholarship. And once they post it, it goes viral. Oh, such and such got Clemson. And I'm sitting there scratching my head, knowing that that's not really true. That's not true. And but we believe it because he posted it, so it's got to be true. Little do parents know. I'm like, well, anybody can say that a school's not going to deny that they gave a kid an offer. So if a kid just, wants to just pop up and says, he's got Alabama, guess what? Alabama not about to waste their time and come to tell you, no, we didn't really actually offer this kid. They're not going to do that. So you just basically trusting whoever's word that this is what happened. And then they get with well, it's verified by this coach. Well, I kind of know some of those coaches, and some of those coaches, depending on where they are in their careers, yeah. I told the kid, he had an offer, but he had an offer contingent on him coming to camp and doing well. So basically, it's a holdover to get you to stop asking them about an offer or to make you feel good about yourself, and then you have to come in and still show and prove. So instead of jumping up and down about the fake offer, I like today. Today is a great day because today, it's the proof is in the pudding. Like all these folks who be posting all these offers, I got 50 offers. Well, you got 50 offers. You had Alabama, Texas A&M, but you went to Wayne State. Well, how did that happen? I know people would be wondering how does that happen? Well, it's because a lot of the times, that people post these offers, it don't be really what they say it is. And sometimes even the kids don't even know. I got into it, at Belleville. I told colleges, hey man, don't give my kids fake offers. We get what we earn. They'll earn real offers. If you're gonna come in the building and you're gonna fake offer my kid, then you might not need to come this way. Because the coach is left to deal with that parent. He's left to deal with that kid when it's time to cash in. That this is it's one of the things that was one of my growing pains at Belleville and being a head coach. Like, yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, you okay? Well, we're offering this kid as a sophomore. Well, when he becomes a senior, and I call you and say, "Hey, coach, he wants to commit." Oh, well, wait a minute now, coach. Well, we got this many guys on the board, but you didn't say that when you offered him. You didn't say that it was these kind of stipulations. You told me he was offered, but it's a verbal contract which is not binding. So at the end of the day, it's not really worth nothing. The real thing comes, today. When you get that real offer sheet, when you can sign on the dotted line, that's what you're working for. The other stuff is publicity stuff. It's for publicity. It's to be liked. It's so that you can get a lot of views and you can get a lot of, hoorah, and everybody can say that, you sweet. Well, if you really sweet, you'll sign today. If not, then you wasn't doing what you really thought you was doing. And that's cool
So
too.
what would you say to parents right now who are trying to get recruited? What's the best thing they could do to get recruited? If you don't want them to get an offer at this point because it's not committable, what do you think you would advise a parent to do at their present time if they're listening to what you're saying right now?
I was just thinking about this one because I'm thinking about when I go to take my next move to wherever it's gonna be.
You don't know where your
I
next move's gonna be? You have an idea?
we working on it. We working on it. We working on it. But
What?
but at
Hold
the,
on, hold on. You pause right there, man. You don't know where you're going. So you
hey
just gave me
man,
that
I gotta
whole
go
speech.
to. I
You
gotta
just you
pay
gave me
the
that whole
address.
speech about
No,
you gave me that whole speech about knowing the directions. You know what I'm saying? Know your offers. Know don't take a fake this. You can't tell us where you're going. Oh, we just got to keep that under hush hush.
man. At
What
the
we
end
got
of
to
the
do?
day,
I just
man.
want to know.
At the end of the day,
Well, let's be at
what's
the end of
on.
the day. I'm listening. I'm
I
listening.
put it to
I'm
you like
listening.
this: what's on the table today may not be on the table come a year from now. I'm still on suspension, so while I'm on suspension, I'm just going.
You
I'm
just
a, I'm
told
a
the guy
ride
if
the
you want to eat a
wave.
hot dog, man, go get a hot dog, man. If you want to feud your family, go feud. What you got going? What you got brewing there, Coach Crow?
Hey
Well,
man,
they know you're coming
man,
back.
hey
They know you're
man,
coming back. That they do
all,
know.
all I'm saying is this, like, I think that it behooves any young coach. I was talking to Kevin Rogers earlier today about his calendar and just things that I thought were very important for young coaches or just coaches in general, to have as a part of your program plan. As a part of your program plan, you want to, hopefully, if you coming from our area, one of your number one goal is to get kids into college and to have, parents who are realistic about their, goals of where their kid can play and how they get their kid to the place that they want them to be in order to play. I know that you have a program. I know SMSB has a program, or at least when we do our camp, where we have a speaker come in and inform the parents of, excuse me, have a speaker come in and inform the parents of, grade requirements. Okay, well, when you come in as a freshman, you want to be, you need to get this many core classes, you need to get this many, classes in a language, you need to have, telling them what the requirements are. Okay, if you really have aspirations of your kids going to college, okay, I, for one, think that we got to put some of the onus, like back in the day, I think all the coaches took it upon themselves to try to do as much for the parent as we possibly could. Okay, as the scholarship thing has progressed, that's not really a coach's job. It's not. It's not in our contract. We really supposed to be mentors to the kids and teaching them the game of football. Anything outside of that is above and beyond. Okay, now it's become the norm where a lot of the programs such as, Belleville Cast, King, when a parent sends their kids there, they expect for certain things to happen. Okay, well, part of those expectations need to change to where the parent, if you really are vested in your child becoming a, a collegiate athlete, you want him to earn money, you probably need to know what the requirements are yourself. And as a coach, I think I have to do a better job, or coaches need to do a better job of informing the parents. Okay, these are the requirements. They say that your kid needs to have X, Y, Z, and you need to tell them that, when they come in the ninth grade. So when you're monitoring grades, which most good programs do, when you're monitoring grades and the kids are coming along, okay, well, your kid just got 4 Ds. So already, he's not on pace to be earning a scholarship. He's not even on pace to graduate. But you'll still have parents who, with a kid with all D's, be asking about, well, why my son don't have an offer? An offer? Maybe we need to focus on your kid having better grades so that he can graduate from high school. But those are the kind of unrealistic expectations that I think our parents have. Like, we don't know how to prioritize what's really most important. You want the kid to win in the game of life, but all we trapped in is, looking at the internet and, well, I want to post, well, such and such got an offer from Kansas and my son don't have, well, is that offer from Kansas? Like, for one, I'm not competing with folks for offers. I'm really, trying to do the best that I can for my kids. And that first means that in order for them to be recruitable, they've got to have grades. It one, you can't have one without the other. It does me no good for a kid to say he gon' I've had kids who have committed. Named I had a kid that committed to Indiana, and the recruiter is a good friend of mine. And I knew that the kid was on the bubble as far as grades. So I called and told the coach, so he's gonna be straight, because before you take this commitment, he's gonna be straight. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take a look at his grades next time I come in. So next time he came in, oh man, I didn't know that he was, because at the time all he saw was how big the kid was, how athletic the kid was. But once he saw where the kid was academically, guess what? The kid didn't end up going to Indiana. Then you you got to turn it back around. And like I told the parent, like at the end of the day, man, we got to be accountable on our side. We got to make sure that, not only is the kid recruitable, but with him being recruitable, he's qualified. He's got to be qualified. And that's the first part I think we have to do as a society in general is educate each other on what's real and what's not. Because we in with the social media done made everything fake now.
Let me let me
Being
let
real.
me let me transition to another point because I think that's a good and we can go on and on about that. But I want to make sure we hit on one major topic. When you left Belleville, you said you had to come back closer to the city of Detroit, and I know you were intentional about working with the younger ages with youth football. But you said it was important that you help make sure that the city is good. You wanted to see, the tradition of programs in the city that have been powerhouses to stay to that level. And I want to know, what do you think is the current state of football, high school football in the city of Detroit? And what do you think we need to do to improve it?
you know, I came up in a different era, man. Like I really did. Like I came up when, everybody had players. Like it wasn't just, King and Cass. It was every school around the city of Detroit had players. Okay. Transition to, like I said, between the 2010, 2015 years, where it was, a lot of times it was Cass or King. East English was in there battling, you had a few other teams that would rise up from time to time. Renaissance had a few good teams. I know Cody had Cody would compete, but now it's become so lopsided that it's Cass or King, and then it's bust. We used to only have one city championship. There was only one city championship. I naively, when I was in high school, thought the city championship was the state championship. I went off to college, and all I talked about was, we almost won the city because we didn't even win it. We were like we came in like fourth, I think. I don't remember where we came in. We made it to the playoffs, but coming up, the city championship was everything for us. Just being the best in the city of Detroit was everything. Now, no one even acknowledges it anymore. Like because really, it's only a two-team race. Is typically only King or Cass, and me being off in Belleville, like when I left Cass because for a couple of reasons. I left one because I was the only coach on the staff of the majority of the coaches who had not been a head coach, and it kind of bothered me because I didn't know what it was like to be a head coach, and I would always talk to them, and you don't want to be a head coach, you don't want, that was their all the staff's advice, you don't want to be a head coach. Well, y'all all been head coaches, so it's easy for you to say. Now having been a head coach, no, I ain't gonna say I particularly care for it, compared to where I was at the time, because I loved our staff. Like I came from a great staff. Like I think we all were like minded. We all had the same goals, and we all loved the person that we were coaching for. And we were all humble enough to understand our roles. Now is different. Once you go to become a head coach, you know, I don't think I was properly equipped, those first couple of years. I thought it was going to be something that it wasn't. I wasn't properly prepared. And so now coming back to Detroit, I want to all of those things that I didn't know and I didn't really understand. Folks told me when I went for my interview, how would you handle politics? And politics, as a defensive coordinator at Cass, first of all, I wasn't in the building. I just showed up when it was time to practice. And, I did the off-season workouts and all of that stuff. So I didn't really understand what the politics were until I became a head coach. And then I started understanding how a building works, how the staff and the students and the parents all have to have a cohesive relationship and how that affects the community. Like I didn't have a inkling of what that was until I actually went out and did it. So now that I've done it, I feel like this next generation of coach, man, it's a responsibility of the older coaches to come back, man. The things that you think are important are not really the things that are important, because as mentors, as coaches, you're responsible. Let's just say you're a little league coach and you got 40 kids on your team. That's 40 kids. That's a small community, that you have leadership of for a few hours throughout the day. But a few hours throughout the day for several months throughout the year, that's a lot of time, and we have to be more uh deliberate with how we use that time, not just in the X's and O's, but the building of character. And if King and Cass are not dominant, it's not good for the city of Detroit. Because right now, those are the programs that represent the city of Detroit. It's just what it is. And I think both staffs back in the day pushed for to be national. Like, I tell people all the time, man, I used to go around and I hated those King shirts. I still to this day hate those King shirts because it spoke their tradition. King's been good since I was in high school. So for them to be, I've not ever known them since I've been in high school to not be good. Even on the off years when they're not that good, they're still King. They earned that. They earned that kind of respect and notoriety across the country. Same thing for when I got to Cass, man. I got to Cass, and I remember me and Dennis Parker sitting in his breakfast room, and we made a pact that we were not gonna leave Cass until Cass was a state champion and they were national. Nobody could leave. We made a pact. I did not leave until Cass was national, and we had several state championships because we had fulfilled our pact. And now that it's national, you got to hold it up to that standard. Because if it's not at that level, then it speaks to the football play in the entire city of Detroit. And that is my thing. My thing is they represent us. They're the best of the best. Cass and King are the best of the best. We need them to be good. And I don't care who the coach is. Whoever the
But
coach
what
is,
about the
that's
other
the
school? What about
expectation.
the other schools though? What about the other schools beyond Cass and King? We talking about the whole city of Detroit. This
It's
is
about the
like it's
city.
a citywide thing. What are you? I mean, your resume. You've worked at multiple schools. So how important is it that the other schools are on a level that can compete? And how does those schools not being good impact Cass and King?
Well, one, in order for those schools to become what Cass and King are, you gotta coach the next generation of coach. Like, and then because what ended up happening is like this. So if the best staffs are Cass and King staffs, and the coaches don't leave Cass or King, then how do the other schools get better? When I left, I purposefully left, and I left the city because I knew that at that time I was so popular that it would have hurt Cass for me to go to another school in the city because I was going to draw kids. People were going to send me their kids that probably would have went to Cass. So I went far enough away so that it wouldn't impact the city to the point where it would
But you
put a
took
switch.
kids from the city with you to goddamn on Belleville.
And
Well,
you
when I
drove
went
them.
to
No, I'm just
well, let's talk about it because at the end of the day, like when people say that, it's always like, man, let me see. I took one, two, three. I took three or four
Which
kids
year? Which year?
the first year. And I only took two. I took two. So I took two. And let's just say I took two every year that I was there. I took two every year that I was there. So that's eight.
was it the quarterback?
That was one.
Oh, well, you took the team. Well, you took the
No.
quarterback. You
What I'm
took the team.
saying is, okay, so if
Maybe
I'm
those
only
kids
getting
would have went to school in the city, and the city might be a little bit better had you stayed in the city. Maybe.
had I stayed in the city, I think it would have hurt Cass. Like at the end of the day, like, and then
So you
my
didn't
thing
want to
when I
hurt your
left.
pack. You didn't want to hurt the pack. That's what it was. You
Well,
took
no,
you
more
took
so
care
than
of the
that.
pack.
I wanted to be no. Also wanted to be qualified. I wasn't going to experiment on. Not saying that this was an experiment, but I didn't want to go to a school in the city and not really know what the hell I was doing. Like I didn't want to do that. I
You're
think
supposed
now
to share the
though.
gift of Crowell.
I
You
mean,
got to share the
I
gift.
was a at that time I was a defensive coordinator and really good at getting kids in college. Like that was my gift. I
That's
was
all you were good at. That's all you were good at.
that's the main thing I was good
So
at.
how did Cass get good? They didn't have a feeder school.
Hey, hold on, man. At the end of the day, man, the way it actually happened was,
This is the first time
like
you
I
stuttered
felt
the
like,
whole night. You ain't stuttered the whole time you've been talking. You've
hey,
been
man,
quiet
when I
Right.
got to
the
first
entire
of all,
night.
when I got to Cass was already putting out a bunch of players. That most of them was Cubs. And I felt like since, we were already good with the Cubs, then I didn't need to go to the Cubs. I needed to understand what was going on in the rest of the city. And that's what I did. I wanted to go, introduce myself to a lot of the folks and make sure that they were doing quality coaching and knew that Cass was a place that they could be. And that's how we blew up. I mean, and it's gone on since me. Like at the end of the day, I'm getting back to the thing about the other schools. The other schools need better. They need coaches that like a lot of these youth coaches. So say the Steelers. I just throw a name out there. The Steelers got some coaches. Okay, the established coaches all want ready-made programs. You never the coaches who aspire to be coaches. They say they want to be coaches, but they don't want to take a program that they got to build from the ground up. I went around, I asked coaches, I like, hey man, Mumford might be a good spot. Oh, I'm not going to Mumford. You can't win at Mumford. And I was sitting there thinking, man, I coached at Harper Woods, I coached at Kettering, I coached at Persian, and those places weren't the best of places when I went there. Like I was excited to have an opportunity to coach, to go turn the program around. But now, everybody want ready made. So since everybody want ready made, especially with the coaches who are already established, you got to go deeper and you got to get the people who are part of the community and give them the tools to be successful so that they can take a team that don't have a team full of superstars and go out there and just compete against Cass, compete against King. And, like looking at Denby, Zach Carr was one of my first kids at Kettering. My first stop at coaching was over at Detroit Kettering. And I hate to tell you this, Greg, but Kettering was not very good when I got there. Like honestly, they I'm just
Hey,
being
you gonna get
honest.
on here and talk about my
Say that
school.
one
We
more
gonna
time.
talk
Kettering
about my
wasn't very
school.
good when you got there.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. They weren't. At the time we weren't that good. Like Bo was trying to be. Bogart was in a transition where he was
All
trying
right,
to be
Greg, you
go
hear
be
that,
a,
Greg? That's a
he
Kettering
was
Hey,
coach.
hey,
going to
hey,
be an AD.
we might have lost the game, but we always wanted to fight.
Oh, hey man, hey, one thing about the Van Dyke now, like they wasn't scared. They wasn't scared. Them Kirby kids was a little bit different, man. Like so that's where I cut my teeth. I cut my teeth over at Kettering, and the only year that my first year was rough. But we ate them L's. We set up and we went to work and you know I wish Donnie Dooley was somewhere around because it's around the time when the Falcons were just they were pretty dang on good. They had Goggles, they had Donnie, they had a bunch of good players and they were my son actually played for the Falcons. So I got a chance to see them and man, they had that B team legendary defensive coordinator who was knocking the hell out of people and football was good and we brought some of that to Kettering and next thing we became one of the best teams in the city like but we that wasn't given like I hear coaches well I want to be the next head coach of Cass huh like Cass is a national program like what exactly in your resume says that you should be the head coach of Cass like if it's just that easy, anybody can do it. And I don't that's not how this works. Like go be a coach at Renaissance. Go be a coach at Western. Go be a coach at East English. Rod Olden coached at East English. Right now, people act English is a bad job. Well, when Rod was there, they were winning and competing. So maybe it's the coach and not the school. Maybe
Right.
somebody who really I'm just saying, like everybody want the already ready made, well, they don't want to have to put in the real work. Like I had to work. Like I didn't just pop up where I got to be at Belleville or I got to be at Cass. I coached at Kettering first, which wasn't, we ended up making it into something. Then I left there and I went over to Persian, We played for a regional title. I left there and went to Harper Woods. Harper Woods, when a Harper Woods was really all you could get was Harper Woods kids. When I left, we was like 10-1, 11-1, whatever it was. But that those wins were earned. That respect was earned. It wasn't given. You know, guys, you only good because you went to Cass. Well, I was kind of good before I got to Cass. Honestly, I was.
Woo,
I
woo,
had won.
woo, woo,
It
I,
woo,
started at
woo,
Kettering
I
though.
woo,
It started at Kettering though.
woo, woo.
hey coach, I
It
put
started at
guess what?
Kettering.
And you know the funny
It
thing
started
is,
on
Hey,
Van
we
Dyke.
put kids
hey,
in we
Greg,
put
hey,
kids in
Greg, hey,
college
Greg, hey,
at
Greg, hey,
Kettering.
Greg. He blowing.
We put
He
kids
letting
in
something out
college
right now.
at
He talking
Pershing.
to the
We
people
put
right now,
kids in
Greg.
college at Harper
He
Woods.
talk okay, okay. He talking to the people.
Yeah,
I'm just
he
saying,
want to
man.
make sure they understand his whole story. He's saying that
Like, bruh,
people
like it's
think
everywhere.
he started at Cass coaching. Basically, what he's saying.
Nah,
Oh,
nah,
that's what he
man.
said. He the goat. Oh, you the goat. That's
Nah,
what
My,
he
it's not
hey,
said.
look,
about being. It's about.
I only got one beef with Crowell. He know that we talk about this all the time. My only beef with Crowell is that he ain't ever coached on Linwood. That's my only beef with Crowell.
Hey, watch this. Watch this. Ask me how many times have I ever been offered a job at well since Jimmy made
He
well
was an
Jimmy just
assistant.
recently
Hey,
offered me one.
hey, Greg, he was an assistant coach at everywhere but Linwood. That's my only thing.
Oh, he
Like,
ain't go.
how can you not be making sure your home territory is good? That's my only thing. He's a great man around the town, but why not go back to the crib? Why not?
I agree with
Why
that.
go
I
everywhere
not.
else but Linwood?
I
And
did.
this
I
is the
did
conversation
say
we
that
had all.
Why why why
to
you ain't
go
go to
back to
Linwood?
Central.
What was wrong with Linwood?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Linwood.
I mean, what?
There's nothing wrong with Linwood. Trust me. You know, it's just
Boy,
Prove it.
you
now
Prove
showed
we
it.
off
got
those
into
Prove it.
curveballs.
Hey,
You
prove
should have
it.
played
Prove it.
baseball.
Prove it. Hey, look. Hey, prove it. Jimmy Macon will welcome you. You want me to call him for you?
I done talked to Jimmy. Jimmy done told me a couple times, but now
Yeah.
hey
Huh? You
Kurt,
said you don't have a job. You said you
as
don't
you
have a job
already
right now.
know,
You said you don't have a job right now.
we
I'm trying to
on
help the city out. I'm for the city.
hold on.
Aren't you for the
You actually
city?
know I have a job because you actually
I
know I
don't
have
know.
a job.
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, man. You don't know what you're
So,
doing.
but at the end of the day, man, I'm not opposed to going to
So
Central.
you
We've
trying to
been
go
in
to a
talk about
ready-made program?
it. No, I don't need it to be ready made. I trust me, I can take it. I don't need it to be ready made. I take it from nothing to something real quick.
All right, man. Look, man, we wrapping up this call. We've been going for an hour, so we gonna wrap this up a
Yeah,
certain way.
we
I want
have.
to give someone. Yeah, man, you can talk good, man. That's a good. You good, man.
Eh,
Good. You might need your own show, man. The Crowell show, man. You
No,
good.
Right, he
man.
did. Hey, Kirk, he did the Cat Williams thing. You just took over, man. We didn't even have time to get a question.
Damn,
You
my bad.
smoked.
All right, look. All right, so here goes some questions. All right, one word answers, man. All right, best player you've ever coached. Best player
Wow.
you ever coached.
Wow. I can't
Come
answer
on,
that one.
man. Come on.
Nah, man, I can't answer that one. I done had it at what
No, you
position?
don't see, man. Come on, man. The people want to
It's
hear
just
it.
the
People
best,
want to hear
you
it.
know.
Hey, man, I'd have had a lot of All Americans, man. I,
Hey, man, pick
they
one,
all
man.
pretty
Come on,
We
pick
good.
just
one.
said the best one.
Can we say most liked?
No, best player you ever coached.
No,
Huh?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know that one because that's been a lot of. I'd have had a lot of players, man.
All
Come
right.
on, can I just put it to you like this? One of my favorite kids is Lavert Hill.
Okay.
I tell you that.
Okay.
He's one of
All
the,
right.
I thought that at when I took him camping, Lavert used to pick off the ball like every rep. Like I've never seen that done before, ever. So
Gotcha.
he's one of my favorites.
Best player you ever coached against.
Player that I hated competing against was Norfleet. I hated Norfleet. Like he did I didn't like
from the
Norfleet.
west side, from the Rams. Wasn't North Fleet at the Rams?
Norfleet
Yeah,
was
play the
at
king.
3,200, man. He was at 3,200, and boy, dude, I was so happy when he left. And that's the year that they beat us when he left. And I thought we was gonna eliminate them from the state playoffs and from the city playoffs, and that was gonna be the end of the. And they showed me like that's boy Terrell Patrick. Ooh, Yeah, that was on me. Yeah,
What
he was one of the best players. Well, I mean, it's been a lot. William Golston, Jonathan Hankins. Like I've coached against some pretty good players.
what coach has had the biggest influence on you as a coach?
Thomas Welcher,
Thomas Wilcher.
no doubt. Thomas Welcher. I mean, honestly, like the little bit of trouble I got into, I told folks, like when my head coach retire, I'm showing my natural born black behind. Like a lot of my transition from Cass to Belleville was, me talking to Welcher, over and 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 over again, and him telling me what not to do. And he told me to not beat up on people because if I did, they were going to come after me. And I told him that that's all right, coach. Once you retire, I promise you, I'm showing my natural born black behind. And sure enough, is when he retired, I went on and did what I said I was gonna do. And sure enough, they did what he said they was gonna do. So, but Thomas Welcher for sure.
So you just was a coach that didn't listen, huh?
Yeah, I was.
What was your what what was the best team you ever coached?
my one of my oh my God. One of my favorite teams was that I had two or three. The 2010 Cavs team, I think that the year we made it to the semis but didn't win it was one of the fastest teams that I've ever coached with. The first championship team was the best defense that I've ever coached ever, and that's by far. Like that 2011, the 2011 defense was the best defense I've ever coached, and all around team probably, I don't know. One of my Belleville teams that didn't win might have had the most talent. You know, no, not the Cavs. Nah, my Cavs teams had more talent, but my one of my favorite teams is Bryce freshman year team because we had Deshaun Lee, um, Jeremiah Caldwell, Christian Rapley, and all of those guys. They were 4-year guys, and I remember it being a big deal when they got to Belleville, and they actually came and played all 4 years. A lot of them started for 4 years and ended up winning the state championship. So yeah, that's one of my favorite teams.
Mm. What team that you play against was the most best team you ever coached against? The best team, like one single team.
That made you pull your hair out or something.
I
That made you really
mean,
go in your playbook.
I put it to you like this: like people that don't study football don't really remember this, but Cass didn't become Cass until after Donshell English, Coach Godfrey, and Archie Collins broke up. When they broke all three of them up, Southeastern had their foot on our throat, and it wasn't until they broke up where we able to overcome the hump. So honestly, we didn't beat them. Like it is something that really haunts me. I did vow that we were going to beat Southeastern. We were going to beat Southeastern into oblivion, and no one would ever remember them. And it's happened. No one remembers. Back when we were taking those beatings, but man, Southeastern was loaded, man. Like dealing with Hankins and Golston and that thing online, man, they was doing us
Yeah, the
dirty.
quarterback was Ed. Wasn't Ed the quarterback?
Yeah, man. And they had the receiver that went to Michigan State, the Smith kid. Like, dog, they were terrorizing us. Like they was like coach. Like, yeah, man, they was doing us dirty. But those were that's what I be meaning when I say, like, when people be wanting jobs, like, bro, you gotta go through some of these, you gotta go through some of the highs and lows. Like you don't just get gave nothing. Like we had to earn those beatings were earned. I remember they consecutively beat us 3 times in 1 year. They beat us first. The last loss at Cass, we had went 7 years without losing a game at home. The last loss we had was the Southeastern. We lost to Southeastern at the crib. Then they came and beat us in the city championship. Then they turned around and eliminated us from the state playoffs. Like they gave us the trifecta. That's never happened, and I hope to God it never ever happens again. But yes, they gave us problems. My favorite team of all time is a 3200 team though, and that was from my senior year because that was the best team that I've ever seen with my own eyes. That was that 1989 King team with, man, dog. I've never seen a team with that much talent ever. Like if you go look in the books right now, dog, they had Ricardo Williams, they had Deion Johnson, they had Tim Banks, they had David Bolton, they had the Gibson kid that went to Notre Dame, they had Damon Primus that went to Auburn. Like all these people that I'm naming, bruh, they had a team full of Power 5 kids. Like and didn't win the damn state championship. They was back when I was coming up. They was Detroit's hope when they went to Ford Field and we freaking lost to Muskegon. Like I said, because at the time, like that was Detroit versus everybody, and when they went and lost, man, it hurt. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt. But yeah, that was one of my back because I saw them shut down Jerome Bettis and Walt Smith, some Hall of Famers. Like I watched them crumple JB. Like I mean, they really like crumpled him. Like it was about 5 people hit him at the same time. Like, man, boy, that was
That's what's up, man.
yeah.
Well, we thank you for coming out tonight and dropping some insights. Who you want to thank out? Who you want to provide a thank you to? Just and recognize for supporting you as you made your journey to get to this point where you are. Anybody you want to shout out or recognize?
Oh man, I wanna thank you. A lot I tell people all the time, like, man, like people acknowledge me for being big in recruiting, but a lot of the people that I met along the way when we was coming up at Cass, Kurt was introducing me to when he was at SMSB. And it got started because Welcher, Kurt was a King guy, and Welcher wanted to make sure that somebody kept an eye on the Cass guys that was at SMSB. So I told him about, like, Coach, I'll go over there and watch him. And I got a chance to go around the country, man. Like a lot of our expansion came from a lot of what I was learning. Yeah, I was going around the country, but Kurt already knew writers. He already knew a lot of the people that helped, us put Cass on the map as far as marketing wise. Cass was already known because we had already had like a bunch of players that was out there, but learning how the national scene worked, like it helped, especially me. It helped me, expand and grow. So you, Thomas Welcher, Woody Thomas, Charleston Fobbs, who was an old Central guy, but he was the DC at Cass before me, and then all the people that that trusted me and gave me an opportunity. Like because those opportunities didn't necessarily have to happen. So I'm thankful to any and everybody who's ever given me an opportunity. And the parents who trusted me, and Terrell Patrick, TP, because he's my guy and he made me better.
That's what's up.
Pastor, you gotta take us out. Greg, take us out, man. What you got, G Hicks?
You know me, man. You know how we end the show, man. Put God first, man. Let's keep pushing forward, man. Let's keep doing what we doing. Let's keep up the good work. And thank you, Crowell, for coming on here, man. Thank Blackwell for all he do. And thank the whole Sound Mind, Sound Body Youth Association staff, man. And we're gonna continue doing what we're gonna do, and we're gonna press forward, man. Thank you so
Thank
much.
Michelle. Thank Crowell. Michelle said you ain't say what's up to her either, man.
Man, thank you, Michelle.
Don't leave out Batman, man. You can't. Don't leave out my
Oh
Batman. Don't
man,
do that.
look, man, dealing with Kurt, Michelle is like the buffer. All the stuff that I forget, she always have my back on. Like, Michelle, I don't want to ask Kurt. What was it I was supposed to be doing as far as what? It cussed me out for a minute, but then she always look out. That's my girl.
Yeah, don't leave out my Batman, man. Don't do that.
So, man, well, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate the.
Thanks a lot.
It's all good, man. We city, man. We trying to make sure that we elevate, work together. It's not enough good going on in the city for us to be fighting each other. We got to continue to elevate, work together, and ensure that Detroit doesn't fade out. We got to do whatever we can to stay relevant. I don't care what nobody says. We gonna continue to make sure that we uplift the city. We don't fight each other because the kids is counting on us, and it's not enough of us for all of us to go in opposite directions. We got to get on the same page and work together in a coordinated fashion, or else the kids gonna lose. Like me and you, good. We already had our heyday. '89 was good. '90s were good. Early 2000s was great. But it's 2024. If we don't figure out something how to work together, I mean, the kids gonna continue to lose. Y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, but I don't have nothing bad to say about anybody. I'm just trying to work in a manner that can help all the young people, and I feel like we do the best at doing that because this is what we all about right now: spreading this love and spreading this positivity, and let God do the rest. So thank you all for the support. Let's keep on keeping on so that our city can go to a higher level. Amen and good night.
Good night.